Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Will Moss. I am the founder and CEO of HBCU CONNECT, and I am super excited to host all of you that have joined us this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you're logged in from. But we are going to be presenting ServiceNow, HBCU and Tech in partnership, of course, with my company, HBCU CONNECT, where you're going to hear from past and present HBCU students that have come through this program. So you're really in good hands, and you're in a good place, in a safe place where you can ask questions, you can learn more about the opportunities. And I'm super excited about this because we're going to hear from some of the students that went through the program or are currently in the program, and they're going to share their experiences, their stories, having now worked at ServiceNow as interns or full-time hires. So I'm super excited to hear from them as well, and super proud of them for taking advantage of this opportunity. And I am hoping that you all do the same. All right, so we're gonna have details on how you can apply for later on in the event. But let me go ahead and just jump in real quick. If this is your first time attending an event where you heard about it through HBCU CONNECT, welcome. And if you've been to a previous event, welcome back. But HBCU CONNECT, we're the largest organization for students and graduates of HBCUs. You can consider us as an opportunity engine, and we are super proud to be partnering with ServiceNow to provide you with opportunities like this. And we've been in partnership with ServiceNow for several years now. I'm not sure if you have heard of ServiceNow already, but it is a great company that is growing fast, and they are looking to bring in the best and brightest diverse candidates from HBCUs, not only through the partnership with HBCU CONNECT, but also through partnerships that they have directly with some of the HBCUs. So this is your opportunity to learn more about ServiceNow, to ask questions, to listen in to some of the students, to drop comments in the chat, network in the chat, and take advantage of this awesome opportunity that could actually be life-changing for some of you that go ahead and take advantage. So that's what we're here for. We're here to provide opportunities for you. I'm proud of you guys for being here and excited for you. So that's my brief intro and welcome. And like I said, super glad to have you here. Now, what I like to do next is I'm going to hand off the moderation to my friend, Jalen Turner, engagement lead for HBCU at ServiceNow, and my other friend, Chris Rogers, who is head of DEI for engineering at ServiceNow. So Jalen, if you'd like to take over.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Will. So excited to see you all and be here with you. As Will stated, my name is Jalen Turner. I'm an engagement lead here at ServiceNow, focusing specifically on HBCU students. So I'm so excited to see all the HBCU representation in the chat. You all are in for a treat. You're going to hear directly from the horse's mouth from HBCU grads who have interned with us, who are now full-time workers with us. So you are going to really get the inside scoop, and I can't wait to get to the conversation. Before we do that, for those of you who might not have heard of ServiceNow, or this might be your first time at one of our events, we definitely want to make sure you know who we are as a company. So before I do that, actually, I'm sorry. Let me pass it off to you, Chris, so you can introduce yourself.
Run it. Go ahead, do your thing. Run.
All right. Well, that's Chris Shaw. He the head of DEI for engineering. Woo woo. Okay, so our purpose, we make the world of work better for everyone. That's what drives us. That's what we try to live out every day. If you could go to the next slide, Will. And our ambition. So we have a goal to be the defining enterprise software company of the 21st century. We're looking to double our headcount over the next couple of years. And what that means is that we need great people. We need diversity of thought in order to do it, because you can't be defining and do things like everybody else. So we're an extremely innovative company. We value diversity very much here, and we have this goal. So we need folks like you all to help us do it. All right, Chris.
Man, Jalen, I'm loving it. So when you think about ServiceNow, I'm Chris Rogers, head of DEI for the engineering. I work hand in hand with Jalen on our HBCU initiatives, bringing Black and brown talent to ServiceNow. But I just want to do a couple, not housekeeping, but key highlights. As you look at the talent, as you look at what tech companies, people are doing, we're 3 times over the national average as far as bringing in diverse talent to ServiceNow. We're super proud of that. And then the Black and brown talent that came to ServiceNow, we do surveys, we do DEI table talks experience, talk with them, and 95% of them will recommend us to their friends or that we are a great place to work. And most importantly, right, 80% of the people we bring in get a return offer. So we all about establishing that, creating an opportunity. We need you guys to believe in the program, believe in the process, because that's what it's all about, getting that return offer. Next slide.
All right, so that's a little bit about ServiceNow, about our numbers, who we are as a company. So let's get into this conversation, ready to talk to our wonderful panelists. So up here on this slide, I want to start with Mulinga. If you can go through and answer all of the questions you see right here. We want the audience to know a little bit more about your story and just who you are.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Mulinga Ngolale. I'm originally from Zambia, southern part of Africa, but I currently live in Atlanta, and I'm a sophomore at Bethune-Cookman University, majoring in computer engineering and minoring in math. So over the summer, I worked on the quality engineering team with ServiceNow, and I had a very great experience, trust me. So some of my responsibilities included automation, testing, regression, and software development. And then about my superpower, I would say I'm very patient. I'm very patient to work with people and to communicate with others. Yeah, that's it.
I love that. Thank you so much, Mulinga. I think I need to take a page out of your book. I need some of your superpower because I am not patient. I think we could all use a little bit of extra patience. That is a superpower indeed. All right, Lauren, tell us about yourself.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Brown. I'm from Ellicott City, Maryland, and I go to the illustrious Morgan State University. I am a computer science major and economics minor. This past summer, I interned with the technical program management department, more on data and UX services. And I worked as a technical program manager intern. I think my one superpower is that once I set my mind to something, whether it's like, I'm gonna study 8 hours for this exam, or I'm gonna make sure I get into this program by the end of the year, I'm gonna get it done no matter what. So yeah, I'd say that's my superpower.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Lauren. Our CEO always talks about how I think it's like less than 10% of the population actually set goals. And so it definitely helps to separate them as far as achieving those goals. So that's a phenomenal superpower. So shout out to you, Lauren, holding it down for the DMV. I saw some folks from Morgan State, from Bowie, from Coppin. Love all of the HBCU representation. All right, over to you, Radesha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Radesha. I'm currently a design program coordinator, but last summer I was an intern in global talent. And I'm from Oakland, California, if we have any other Bay Area natives in here. And my internship last summer was mainly data analytics, helping the team understand the information we were getting from the Now bot, which is a chat feature that we have available for internal use and for our customers. And now my role as a coordinator, being full-time, is to be a liaison, a connector, collaborator, and help like problem solve, pretty much, if I'm boiling it down to something very simplified. And I feel like my superpower is being a connector, relationship building. I feel like I'm drawn to asking the right questions, getting people talking about themselves, and just being open and jolly. So I'm happy to be here today.
Absolutely. That relationship piece is so important, especially in the corporate workforce. Thank you so much for sharing, Radesha. All right, last but certainly not least, Ashanique.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Moore. I'm originally from Portland, Jamaica. I am a senior computer science major at Benedict College. Over this past summer, I had the opportunity of working on the data platform data scale team as a quality engineer. Most of my responsibilities were writing test cases, test automations, as well as building a script performance application throughout my summer. I would say my superpower would definitely being able to strike up a conversation with whoever, whenever, and able to actually hold long conversations for long hours. I would say it's a good thing and a bad thing. My friends put me on do not disturb for it, but at the end of the day, I know how to make persons smile and I love making jokes.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful sense of humor, Ashanique, and I can't wait for the rest of the crowd to hear it. So let's dive into this conversation. Let's get into the nitty gritty about why we're here. The first question that I want our panelists to answer is just tell us about the process of earning your internship at ServiceNow. What are some of the things that you might have been doing beforehand to prepare that really helped you stand out in your recruiting process? What did your recruiting process look like? We want the full scoop. So I'm going to start with Lauren.
Okay, so I think what really made me stand out in regards to my application was just how involved on campus I am. My coding skills are pretty okay, but they are not like phenomenal. But I think what did make me stand out was especially the fact that I was involved in my Women in Computer Science Club on campus. I was involved with SGA, different things, different programs through the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, showing that like you're a well-rounded candidate and not just on the technical side, but you actually have the ability to manage and lead, even if it's just in a small student organization, is something that will definitely help your application. I feel like it's not really talked about as much, but it's definitely something that will make you stand out at the end of the day.
Awesome. That's fantastic advice. Ashanique, can you tell us a little bit about your recruiting process, what it looked like, what your interview process was in order to earn your role?
Sure, no problem. So I actually got the opportunity to interview with ServiceNow through the same kind of event that happened almost similar to this time of the year, that we came on to HBCU Connect, listened to the panel, listened to all the amazing things they had to say about the company. And that's where it all started. From there on out, I definitely had continuous conversations. I was always in contact with my recruiter, who gave me like an overview of what is there to come through my recruitment process. So there wasn't a time I was like, okay, what's going to happen? Are they just setting me up not to get this opportunity? So I definitely had full support through that. I was already preparing for internship season. So I was already coding, practicing my interview questions, networking around. So I had things a little bit tight during that time. It was really just like getting that opportunity to apply it. I would say I had a really great experience with my interview process. My interviewers were really nice. They were really helpful. My as recruiter was exceptional as well. So I would say all in all, between the opportunity, the interview, and the internship is like the same kind of expectation was maintained. So I would say definitely to prepare is not to wait until like 2 weeks before your interview to actually get it going. Start from now so that nothing catches you off guard, and definitely practice what you think you know, because there's oftentimes something can easily throw you off.
I love that. Practice, practice, practice. I always say there's no such thing as over preparing. When you're going through these interview processes, it's so important for you to practice the types of questions you're going to be answering and practice your elevator pitch. And I love what you said, Ashanique, about that persistence. It's competitive to get into tech, y'all. So you got to be persistent. You got to stay on top of your recruiter. You have to want it. You got to be ready to grind out. Love that answer. Thank you so much for sharing. Radesha, tell us a little bit about your experience, your recruitment experience with ServiceNow and some of the things that help you stand out.
Yes, so being prepared is definitely top. I did so much research prior to for my internship and for my full-time role because, you know, as time passes, school goes on, you can get flustered and be distracted by all types of things. So just having the reminders and have those reasons in your mind why this company is for you and make sure that that's clear. So definitely doing the prep and preparing my responses for the interview, but definitely also networking was a big part of my way in. I had someone who I was connected with from high school that I knew for my internship to help me get my foot in the door to like be able to interview, and just being able to be prepared, have the cover letter on point, have my stories down. I think it's SMART, the acronym for like how you will tell your story. That's very important because depending on what the experience is, you can frame it in a certain way to show the value that it brings to the team. And that's what's really important, just showing them, hey, I'm the person that you want, so look no further. And then also for my full-time role, what I did in between, because I was one of those people who did not get a return offer. So it happens, do not be discouraged. But what I did was I showed up in the fall, like from I had my summer internship, and then the fall in between, graduating in the spring, I was going to every event in ServiceNow and following up with people, going on LinkedIn and inquiring about their roles and what they did and what I could do to be able to stand out. We also had the HBCU CONNECT hackathon, and I signed up for that and just showed up and did what I could to show that I am someone who's dedicated, someone who can bounce back even if things didn't go well the first time, and that I'm determined and excited about ServiceNow. And I feel like along with the networking, that's everything you need to show that you're the one for the role.
Absolutely, yes. My grandma used to always tell me, baby, a lot of where you'll go in this life is going to be about who you know and not necessarily what you know. So it's important to know things, absolutely, but who you know can get you to the place that you want to be, help you accomplish your goals a lot quicker a lot of the time. So networking is extremely important. Thank you so much for sharing that, Radesha. And last but not least, Malinga, we really want to hear from you, because Malinga came and was an intern with ServiceNow as a freshman, y'all. And yes, we are open to freshmen, but let me tell you, a recruiting process as a freshman is no cakewalk. So Malinga, we really got to know, man, what made you stand out?
Yeah, my hiring process was quite unique, to be honest. I remember the first time I heard about ServiceNow, I attended a meeting last winter that was hosted by HBCU CONNECT, if I'm not mistaken. And it was about networking, how to create a good LinkedIn profile and the like. And actually, Ms. Jalen, you are one of the presenters. You talked about how to create a proper resume, how to create a very good LinkedIn profile. And after the meeting, I made sure that my LinkedIn profile was good. And then a few weeks later, Mr. Chris Rogers actually reached out to me on LinkedIn asking me if I needed an internship. And I was like, yeah, for sure, I need an internship. And, he sent a link for me to apply, and applied for software engineering role. After applying, I started preparing myself, because I had to interview, I had to meet various managers, I had to meet my recruiters. I used resources like LeetCode, HackerRank, and the rest to prepare adequately. But one thing that made me stand out was my hunger and drive to learn, because I didn't really have very strong skills like that, but my hunger to learn more and research, reach out, and plan properly is what made me stand out, and I landed my internship.
I love that, Malinga. That is so, so, so important. I think sometimes we emphasize so much about the skill sets that we're bringing to the job, and not necessarily the fact that we are going to be working with other humans, people that want to enjoy working with us, that like working with people that are eager to learn, eager to grow. So that's extremely important. Thank you so much for sharing, and shout out to you for getting such a great internship your freshman year. So we talked a lot about what made you all stand out, but we want to get some information too about what made ServiceNow stand out to you. So can you tell us ways that you noticed that ServiceNow advocates for HBCU students? And I'll start off with Radesha.
We're aligned. I was just gonna go on mute. For me, I feel like it's the interpersonal connections. I feel like when I reached out to people, even before I had the role, the internship, or my full-time role, people were open to telling me about their experience from other past interns or current interns, and full-time professionals 5+ years on the job. So just being able to feel like I could be seen and heard while not even being an employee was a big thing for me. But then also all the specific targeted DEI events that they had, and just being able to put the word out and making us feel welcome and seen and heard. Like again, the HBCU hackathon, that event was so amazing, and we got to meet so many professionals and learn skills. We had the opportunity to get a free voucher to be able to become system administrators for ServiceNow. And like, even if you didn't even get a return offer or a role at ServiceNow, just having that opportunity alone is a major win for students to have. And so just being able to experience the what's the word? Like community, just a sense of community was big for me. Even as an intern, I felt special. So yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. Community is definitely important because you spend a third of your life at work. You might as well enjoy it, find people that you really connect with. That's always very important. Thank you for sharing. Lauren, what about you? What ways did you notice that ServiceNow advocates for HBCU students?
Yeah, so pardon the light switches. I just had an airplane go by. So I think for me, at first it was a culture shock because I came from Baltimore, Maryland, and went all the way out to San Diego, California, which is drastically different. So at first I was worried about not feeling welcomed, and that wasn't the case. And it wasn't only just, other Black folks that were out there in San Diego that were trying to make me feel welcomed. It was even non-Black people that were aware of, microaggressions, different types of things that would make me feel uncomfortable. It was an overall welcoming space. And it also really did help to have people like Chris always checking in, like basically just asking like, oh, how are you doing? Just wanted to get a check-in on you. And especially with the DEI table talks as well, just being able to talk to people that, although they weren't all in San Diego, we weren't all in the same place. We were still able to make connections. And I think that was a unique part of the intern experience that I loved.
I love to hear that. That's so important, both having representation and having allies that understand, or at least try to understand some of the things that you can face in the workplace. Love that. Ashanique or Mulinga, would you like to weigh in on this question? What ways did you all notice?
I can go ahead. So something that I believe like ServiceNow does give a lot into HBCUs is that the outside investment into HBCU programs. So it's not just having us in the internship itself and building our skills, it's like identifying where we are and what we actually need and not leaving us in the pipeline. They have a new program right now working with my school to upskill some of our students, which is very critical, seeing that they're not just putting everyone into the same pipeline or comparing the same fishes to each other in hypothetical sense, but it's like they're actually seeing the need and not just saying, hey, we're not going to give you a return offer, so let's just leave you by the roadside. They actually see the need for the training, invested in us, and willing to put it into us, even though these students may or may not come full-time with ServiceNow, they identify that it's more than just building for the company, it's really building Black engineers.
I love that. I love that. Every company is always going to tell you they care about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but the evidence is where they put their time, their money, and their efforts. So thank you for pointing that out, Ashanique. Mulinga, what about you? Did you notice any ways that the other panelists haven't discussed yet that ServiceNow advocates for HBCU students?
Yeah, while I was interning with ServiceNow, what I noticed was ServiceNow created a very warm environment, where you could express yourself freely, regardless of your background, regardless of where you're coming from. And I think one of the things that I enjoyed the most were the DI table talks, because we are able to express ourselves. We're talking about real life things, how to get heard, how to overcome imposter syndrome, and how to be outstanding in a Fortune 500 company. And those things were very interesting, and I really got a lot of help from that.
I'm so glad to hear that. And that leads directly into our next question, because we talk a lot. Chris talked about the DEI table talks in his introduction. You just talked about it now, Mulinga, and how it helped you so much. Y'all tell us a little bit more about that. What was that experience like? What did it really mean to you? Ashanique, I'll start with you.
Sure. So the DEI table talks were very informative. They were actually more of a connection to the space that we're actually in. Being surrounded by a lot of engineers, I was actually the only Black female on my team. So at first it seemed a bit intimidating, but having these continuous talks, hearing from other professionals within the company, how they navigated the company and how they felt welcome as a person, as a whole in the company, that definitely changed my perspective going into each week, changed my perspective on the team. And to be honest, at no point I felt like I was some Black engineer. I felt like I was just like another engineer on the team. So those definitely helped me to actually make my experience a bit better. In a sense, I was nerve-wracked as before, and I actually see that we're actually here to be beneficial to the company.
Absolutely. Radesha, when we talked about the Table Talk series, I saw you nodding your head and smiling and getting excited. Tell us about your experience with the DEI Table Talks.
Yes. So unfortunately for me, during my interview or my internship, I didn't attend those that much because I wasn't aware of them or just had a meeting conflict. So as a full-time employee, I got to attend some of those this summer. And one of my favorite things was just the insight that we got from higher ups in the company, like executives, like our Chief Operating Officer, CJ Desai, like just being able to have that visibility and ask them questions and get their insight, like them sharing their time, showing that we're important to them. Like even interns just made like a huge difference. And now I'm a full-time employee, but still the information is valid. Like for example, being seeking mentorship and sponsorship and like what the difference is between those. Like mentors help guide you, can give you advice, help you prep for interviews, etc. But like sponsorship is so you can be able to have someone who has opportunity and is willing to give that to you, give you the shot to show yourself, show your skills. So that was one of the best parts for me.
Absolutely. I love what you talked about with access to ServiceNow executives or just leaders in general. That's extremely important because again, that networking piece is so important. And we know as HBCU grads, as starting out in the corporate workforce, we don't always get the opportunity to have direct access to those high level folks. So that's extremely important. I love that the Table Talk was able to provide that for you. Lauren, what about you? Were you able to attend some Table Talks? Tell us about them.
Yes, I was. So it was Chris that actually put me onto them. And they had, I think, one per week or one every other week. And it was on different topics like imposter syndrome, basically how to conduct yourself at work, how to connect and network with other people, and basically how to find your own community. And that's essentially what they were doing by having the DEI Table Talk series, because I was able to meet so many different people that were either remote or were across the country where I wouldn't have been able to meet them in the first place. And so I was able to make so many valuable connections while learning more about how to not really conduct myself, but how to navigate the corporate world as a Black person in tech. And it was definitely beneficial and one of the best parts of my internship.
I'm so glad to hear that. All right, so up to this point, there has been a lot of rainbows and butterfly talk. That's what I like to call it. All these wonderful, great things about ServiceNow and about being an intern. But ultimately, you run into some challenges, not just because of the school that you go to or the department that you're in, but just because that's a part of life. And so I want you all I want everybody to answer this question, to tell us about one of the biggest challenges you faced while you were interning with us, and how did you overcome it? And I'm going to start this one off with Malinga.
Yeah, sure. So my first challenge that I had at ServiceNow when I just came was imposter syndrome. I was coming into this internship as a freshman, as an international student, and as a person of color. So, I wasn't feeling like I belonged to, but how I managed to overcome that was, one, the team that I was working with was very welcoming, and they created a very safe environment for me to work, to learn, and grow as an individual. And then another thing that helped me was attending the DIB table talks. Of course, I learned a lot from them. I remember Mr. Chris talking about how to work as a person of color, how to get rid of imposter syndrome, and how to be outstanding. So my biggest challenge was imposter syndrome. And then the second thing that I had was how I was going to bridge the gap between my skill set and what was required of me to do. But how I managed to overcome that was, through adequate preparation and just the hunger to learn and reach out if I wasn't clear on something that I wasn't doing.
Oh, I was on mute. Thank you so much, Malinga. That's so important. That imposter syndrome is real. Sometimes we feel like, man, do I deserve to be here? And the answer is yes, you absolutely deserve to be here. You are not here by happenstance. Ashanique, I want to pose this question to you as well. What was your biggest challenge during the internship, and what ways did you overcome it?
Great. Thanks so much for that question. So for me, luckily, I had a few professional experience before I came into this internship. So I started off with a plan. I had a plan to come out with a full-time offer, and I did come out with a full-time offer. So that definitely set up my mindset for the entire internship period. But the biggest challenges I faced is that fortunately, I had to move my daughter from Jamaica to be here with me in the United States. So we were on site in California. So I had to manage my time between requirements for work, meetings, and also getting her to and from camp because I have to work. So how I overcame that was really a lot of time management and flexibility on the part of my team, understanding that there are some days that if I have to really not be on, I communicate that and they're okay with understanding that this is my situation. And my team was more task driven versus time driven. So as long as I got things done when they're supposed to get done, it's like I didn't have anyone hovering over me or micromanage me in a sense. So I always had that flexibility to really be able to like excel on my team. If you guys were looking closely, she was going back and forth here. I still have her with me. So definitely having that flexibility from ServiceNow and understanding that I can be a mother, I can be an engineer as well in the company without feeling like I'm overburdening on any kind of aspect. But definitely preparing, the fact that I had that mindset coming into the game, I definitely knew how to like redirect everything and push everything to the side, definitely prioritizing tasks, knowing when that, hey, sometimes if I do have to leave early, I have to come back in the evening and just make it up. But definitely, for me, it's definitely just having that mindset coming into the game with your goals and definitely sticking to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Radesha and Lauren, did you want to weigh in on this question about challenges you faced and how you overcame them during the internship?
Yeah. So I think my situation was the same to Malinga's, but for me, I was coming in and a lot of people on my team came from universities like Berkeley, Princeton, like a lot of Ivy Leagues or just schools that are known for being higher rank, just higher programs, right? And so for me, I was like, I'm coming from a smaller HBCU with professionals that have been in the game for 10 plus years. Like my buddy and my manager had switched over, worked at PlayStation for like 10 years. And before that, worked at Sony. And then they came to ServiceNow. So they were incredibly knowledgeable of everything. And looking at the intern pool, like, of course, it's filled with some of the best candidates from across the country. Like a lot of the interns were also from UCLA, Berkeley, all of those schools. And so going in, my first initial thought was, I'm not on the same level as everyone else. So it was kind of like operating as I need to put in like 10, 30 times the effort to make up for what I don't know. And it wasn't until I think it was the mid-year or mid-semester like review. And my manager was basically going over my performance. And she said, I don't understand why, you feel uncertain because you're putting in a lot more work than is needed. And so that's what kind of made me realize that I deserve to be there. Even though I don't go to Harvard, Morgan State University is still one of the best universities out there. And also, you need to understand that you're going in as an intern. Your point there is to learn, and they're grading you not only on, I guess, your performance, but on your willingness to learn. And that's something that you should focus on. And I think for me, my focus was, I don't know everything, which of course, they're not expecting you to know everything as an intern. But in my head, that's what I felt like was one of my biggest flaws going in. So I realized that midway, but if I knew that starting out, that definitely would have changed the game for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Waving hi to Ashanique's daughter. But I love what you said. I think that kind of touches on some of the imposter syndrome that Mulinga also shared, not feeling like you belong here. And there's undoubtedly still stigmas around HBCUs, about the quality of our education, about what we bring to the table. And I am so glad to see evidence of the fact that those things are not true. And all of the panelists that we have today, we do have to work hard in order to get the same opportunities, but it's great to know that there are companies out there like ServiceNow that are very intentional about the ways in which they engage with HBCUs, attain HBCU talent. So I won't stay on my soapbox, but that's an important conversation. That imposter syndrome is real. And for anybody out there that's looking to break into the corporate workforce, stay the course, be persistent. And again, like Lauren said, that was a mic drop moment. You're an intern. We don't expect you to be no expert. We expect you to learn and grow and be great. All right. So, Radesha, you wanted to weigh in on this? Okay. Awesome. So there is no secret that there is a big bag to get in tech. And ServiceNow does not skimp on the compensation, on the benefits for their interns, and certainly not for their full-time employees. Can you all tell us how that really benefited your life? How did, making the amount of money that you were able to make, having access to the benefits that you had, what mark did that leave in your personal lives? And I'll start this off with Ashanique.
For sure. Thank you. This is my section. So when I say benefits, I took advantage of them, especially the healthcare. Being an international student and having insurance, I went all out. I got my glasses. I got so many things done, and there was no limit to what full-time would get versus what interns get. It's the same thing right across the board. I had the opportunity to be in San Diego, so I was around some amazing people who actually and they provide resources that's online that you can view the benefits as well, and they give you an idea of what the breakdown are. Not to mention if you can go in office, I'd recommend to go in office. I was definitely in San Diego. There was a gym. There was also, they have snacks on site. I didn't buy snacks for my daughter. I tell you, I stack up every single day and bring it home because it was available to us. So definitely the benefits are there, and not to mention the experience that you get. And there are a lot of perks that I take advantage of as well. So yeah, thank you. I had to get that out.
Of course, absolutely. I could hear the passion. I could see the passion just oozing from you. I gotta say, when I visited the office in Dallas, I think I might have overdosed on peanut M&Ms. So, I'm just gonna throw that out there for my chocolate peanut M&M lovers. Lauren, what about you?
Definitely. I've interned at a lot of different places. I even worked at like a software engineering role for about a year, based out of Maryland. But the relocation or housing compensation, I've never had that before. So when my recruiter was talking me through all of the different aspects of my offer, I was kind of like, oh, I didn't know you did that, but I was trying to like put my game face on it, like, oh yeah, of course that would be included. And getting those numbers, it was like, I'm getting paid how much? Like, it was insane. And just talking to my family and my dad especially, and he was like, I have never, like, most of my family members have never reached that point. And so for me, it was a really big deal because it was like, I'm 20 years old and I'm making this much. And I have the privilege to be able to travel out to San Diego and live there without breaking my own pockets, and being able to end the 3 months after spending an entire summer in San Diego, California, and still have a lot left so I can save up over the semester. So just to say, it's a pretty deep bag overall, but yeah.
Absolutely. And that's so important. You mentioned your age and the amount of money you were able to make at that age. And when that is your benchmark, when that is just the starting point of your career, there is no telling how much deeper that bag can get. I love that. Malinga, tell us about how the ServiceNow compensation and benefits benefited your personal life.
Yeah, the benefits helped me in a lot of ways, So currently I'm an international student and I didn't have health insurance like that at first, but ServiceNow provided that, and I'm actually still on the insurance plan right now as I'm talking. So that's one benefit that really helped me the most. And then the relocation stipend as well was very helpful. I did my internship remotely, but despite being remote, I still received the relocation stipend, which was very amazing.
Yes, yes, we love free money. Ain't nothing wrong with some free money. Radesha, tell us about your experience.
Yes, so for me, the top two were the mental health benefits. Like I was able to have a therapist during the whole summer. And then also the 401k plan. Like I had never had one of those, didn't understand it, but I'm like, oh, this is, retire. I know like I want to retire early. So of course, why wouldn't I take advantage as an intern? So just being able to have that experience and that exposure even before graduating so that I know like when I'm looking for my full-time role, what should I be expecting? What should I be asking for? Like it gave me the opportunity to delve into that. And so I was so grateful for that, especially the mental health benefits, because life is tough, the pandemic going on, but also just being a person of color. There's a lot we gotta deal with. So just being able to have that benefit was amazing, top tier.
Absolutely. I love how you all kind of emphasize something different because it's important to be taken care of as a whole human, right? Your physical health, your mental health, being able to enjoy your life because again, you spend a third of your time at work, you might as well enjoy working. So I'm so glad that ServiceNow was able to make that mark on you all's lives. These are some life-changing opportunities, y'all. So before we dive into our next portion, I want to welcome in some questions from the audience. So Will, if you could come back up here and let us know what I've been seeing the chat blowing up. So tell me what questions folks that are viewing our panel have for us.
So one of the good questions I saw was about locations. So where did some of you all work? And the question was specifically, are all of the opportunities in California? So if you all could just say where you worked and if some of you work remote, that kind of thing.
Sure thing. Who wants to go first?
Can go. I was remote out of the Santa Clara office, so California, and still got the relocation stipend because they were just lovely like that. ServiceNow.
Love it.
I work directly out of the San Diego office.
I worked remote from Atlanta.
Nice.
I worked, I had a flexible option. So I worked out of San Diego, but I had the option to work anywhere within the United States.
Wonderful. Yes. So there's three main categories that you can fall into. Personas is what we call them at ServiceNow. You can either be 100% remote. You can have a flexible option where you're in the office some days, out of the office other days, or you can be on site. And those are for folks who want to be in an office or their job is based around the location. So those are the three personas, work personas that you can fall into from a ServiceNow perspective. Thanks for asking that, Will. What other questions did we have in the chat?
So so I got an interesting question from Malinga. With him being a freshman that landed an internship, the question was, did you ever feel like you wouldn't make it this far, and were you scared, entering in your internship?
Was I scared? I wasn't scared because I knew that the resources were there. So my team, the team that I was working with, was very resourceful. Like whenever I had challenges, I could reach out to them and they always just to help me out. And another thing that helped me a lot, like I said earlier, was my drive and hunger to learn. Like I wasn't just sitting there like, okay, I don't know this, can you give me something else? When my manager gave me something to work on, I could always say, okay, yeah, let me try researching, let me try, learning if I can do this. And eventually it was an interesting experience.
Awesome sauce. Yes, that standout freshman right there. We love it, Malinga. I did see a question come through in the chat about resources and ways that our panelists have kind of honed in some of their technical skills, which I think will be great to hear from you all. Shameless plug, we are having a coding competition. So if you want more information on that, some of y'all are looking for ways to sharpen those coding skills. ServiceNow is hosting a coding competition. That's one way to do it. But I want to hear from our panelists as well. What are some ways that you sharpen those technical skills? We'll start with you, Lauren.
So actually in my role, I didn't actually do any hard code, but I think I worked as a program manager intern the summer before this one. And I switched from being regular program manager to being a technical program manager. So it was less coding, but more of like programs and understanding like sites like Lucid and the ServiceNow database, which is a whole monster in and of itself. So a lot of the skills that I needed for my internship, I was learning over the course of my internship. So if you're looking for a role in technical program management, I'd say maybe you can look up, Lucid, understand how that works, but a lot of your skills that you need for the role, you will be learning while you're in the internship.
Awesome. Ashanique, what about you? Tell us some of the resources that you use to sharpen your skills.
So definitely for me, it's continuous practice. Nothing came overnight for me. It's been years in the making. So things that I can do now, I couldn't do it in freshman year. But some of the resources I do take advantage of, there's a lot of free resources out there. Free Code Camp has some great resources depending on what you're looking to learn, whether it be a specific language or a specific skill set. I also use Alga Expert. I use LeetCode. I use the Cracking the Coding interview book. I do a lot of mock interviews as well to see how I sound to my friends or to persons who are not as technical as I am, to make sure that, hey, is my solution optimal? Is there some other approach that I can take? Definitely being open to failing and not understanding. It won't always come at once, but knowing that there's always a different approach once your mind is cleared. Some other things I also do, I work on projects as well in my free time to really just sharpen my skills on how, like, the basic syntax of the languages that I do go into coding interviews with. So definitely having a strong language that you want to code in, understanding data structures and algorithm, and basically knowing how to communicate. Because it's one thing to know how to solve a problem, but being unable to communicate that to your interviewer, that can be the hit or miss for you, in all honesty.
I love that. Talk about being determined. Talk about making sure you're prepared. You're just a rock star, Ashanique. Before we get into this overview, really quick, Malinga, I want to hear from you. Do you have any resources that you can share with our audience?
Yeah, sure. So what I normally use to, practice coding, I normally use Udemy to learn certain softwares that I'm trying to understand languages. And then I also use the edX platform. It's a very great resource to learn how to code. And then when preparing for interviews, of course, LeetCode is a very great resource. You can use HackerRank, LeetCode, mock interviews like Ashanique mentioned. And then also try by all means to do mock interviews with my friends so that I can hear I'm sounding from the point of view. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. I think one thing that I took from this last question is that you all really are the captain of your own ship. You're not sitting around waiting for opportunity to fall in your lap, but you're actively searching for it. You're putting yourselves in the right places. And that's why we have the pleasure of hearing from you all. So thank you so much to our panelists. This has been a wonderful discussion. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, more of your personal stories. I know there's some folks in the audience that have learned something new, that have been able to see parts of themselves in you all. And we're just excited to get more wonderful folks like you all within ServiceNow. So thank you, panelists. Now, before we get into the breakout rooms, we want to give you a little bit more information about what our internships look like. So we're going to run through this quick internship overview. They are available at multiple locations. When you get into your breakout rooms with folks, make sure you ask them what locations may be available for the types of roles that you are looking to seek with us. It is a 12-week internship program. They are currently only in the summer. Unfortunately, we don't do them in any other season at the moment. So you do have to be present there for the entire 12 weeks. We have 2 primary cohorts. You will get some skill building training. So again, we want you all to learn and grow with us. So you're going to be working on actual projects. Yes, the projects that our interns work on actually affect the company as a whole. So that's extremely important. You're going to get some mentoring. You're going to have the opportunity to network with all levels of the organization. And those fireside chats with executives, I mean, hearing from the mouths of millionaires is always something I think we can benefit from. Again, you're not going to be running coffee. You're not going to be doing anything meaningless. You're going to have impactful projects that really, really do influence the world of work. We care a lot about social impact, community service, building community. You'll have that opportunity. And then if you intern with us, we want you to stick with us. So if you do a good job and you perform well, then hey, it's not even a question. We want to make sure you have the opportunity to have a return offer with us. If there's something else that you're interested in, then we welcome the opportunity for you to intern with another team and have that opportunity to meet them, interview with them before your internship is up. All right, next slide, please. So to be eligible, again, we have two main cohorts, one that starts in May, one that starts in June. You must be returning for a semester, or not semester, but sorry, one final term after your summer internship. So if you are graduating in December of 2023 and beyond, then you are eligible for our internships. If not, don't get discouraged. We do have some full-time opportunities to apply to as well. You must be actively enrolled in an accredited university as a full-time student or pursuing some sort of degree. And we care about our people here. We care about you being able to bring your full self to work. We care about you feeling like you belong and that you have a voice. So you also have to be that type of person that is passionate about embracing diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Next slide, please. So here are some of our open roles. If you are on your phone or not on your phone, go ahead and take it out and scan that QR code. I am also going to drop a link in the chat where you can see other of our open roles available. Please, please, please apply. Again, we're looking for wonderful, diverse candidates like yourselves. And with that, I think we're ready to go into those breakout rooms.
Okay. All right. So let me give you guys a quick overview because I want to do some housekeeping so that the breakout rooms can run at top efficiency and everyone can take advantage. So first, I want to introduce what the breakout rooms are. And as participants, you can go to a variety of the breakout rooms. And what I would encourage is that you keep an eye on the breakout rooms and maybe take advantage of going to some of the rooms that may be less crowded if you're in a room that has lots of people, so that it gives you a chance to ask questions and engage in a different room that might also be of interest to you, okay? So here's a quick list of the rooms. We'll have a software engineering room. We'll have a technical program manager and project management room. We'll have a quality engineering room. We'll have a UI and UX design and product content room for technical writing, editing, multimedia, that type of thing. Then we'll have a digital technology or an IT room. Then we'll have a finance, accounting, and MBA room. So you don't have to have an MBA to join that room, but if you are working on an MBA or a recent grad, or you're working on finance, accounting related degree, you can jump into that breakout room. Now, what I want to do also, thanks to the ServiceNow team, I want to give them credit for committing such huge resources to this event to be here for you, to engage with you, to answer your questions, and hopefully lead you to an interview where some of you all get hired and take advantage of all those great benefits that the students just got done talking about. So in the software engineering room, I'm going to let all of the folks in these different rooms introduce themselves in the room, but you can take a look at who's going to be there to support that particular room. So we have, the software engineering room, we've got the program management room, we've got the quality engineering, and then also we have the UX UI design, IT and digital tech, and MBA finance and accounting room. So what I'm going to do here's the housekeeping real quick, or the protocol. So inside of Zoom, there's an option called reactions. It's one of these icons or one of these options in Zoom. You can click on reactions. And if you want to ask a question, you can click on raise hand, right? And so you'll see this little raise hand thing over your screen. And then that way the folks from ServiceNow can call on you to ask your questions. So if you're in a quiet place and you're prepared to turn on your video, you can go ahead and turn your video on now. And then when you're called on, you can come off of mute and ask your question. Now, if you don't have that capability on audio and video, you can use the chat. So I'm going to encourage the ServiceNow team members to keep an eye on the chat once we get into the breakout rooms to answer those questions. Okay, so hey, everyone feel comfortable to ask questions. Do not hog the microphone though. Be conscious that there are other people waiting to ask questions. So please keep the questions succinct and to the point. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms and invite you all to jump into the room, including the ServiceNow professionals that are going to be manning the rooms as well. But if anyone needs help, just stick around here. Like if you're down in, for example, and you need help getting into a room, and we'll do our best to help assign you to the room.
Hey, Will,
right,
go
so-
back to the first
yeah.
slide. Go back to the room number 30.
There we
Yeah.
go.
No, not, yeah.
So these are all of the rooms available. The rooms are now open. I would encourage you all to go ahead and take advantage, jump into the rooms and get the conversation going. Thank you. If you need help, just drop it in the chat. And yes, if you want to go to several rooms, you can come back to the main lobby and then jump back into a different room. If you have any technical issues with Zoom, if you get into a funny state, just leave the meeting and come back in, and then that usually does the trick. If anyone needs help, just holler at me right here. I'll be here to kind of hang out and help folks get into rooms. Thank you.
Hey, Will, am I supposed to have a room?
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah,
how do I get into one? Sorry.
yeah, you.
Jake, let me see. Jake, I can help you out.
Jake. Go to the slide 16 so you can see. So that's the other one. Yeah.
Jake is in software engineering.
Yeah.
Technical one.
So let's see, unassigned.
Yeah, ServiceNow people kind of see where you at.
There we go.
Oh, thank you so much.
No problem.
Just to be sure, it's Q&A style, right?
No,
Yep.
you on UXY. You with my
Right. But when we go into the rooms, it's just Q&A, whoever has a question.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you just gotta help out and talk from your experience. But
Oh,
most
okay.
likely Miguel will leave and drive everything.
Oh, gotcha.
So you just gotta help out.
Mhm.
Oh, you can start recording too, Will, pause recording to.
Thanks.
Oh, we need picture and we need survey. So Jalen, survey.
Gotcha.
We'll email that out as well, but yeah, if we want to drop it in the chat and maybe go over the survey.
I will drop the link in the chat.
And I know we almost at time, but I do want to get this picture for everybody to start dropping off. So if everybody can turn their cameras on. I'd like to get a group photo
Yeah, let's
because
do
it's
that.
imperative that we have this picture. I gotta keep my lights on at the house.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody too for joining us, taking advantage of this opportunity. I was super excited to hear from the past interns, and also very excited and impressed with how many folks ServiceNow brought to the table to engage with you and answer your questions. So thanks again for everybody joining. So Louisa, if you want to do the honors of snapping a couple of pictures.
Yeah, I'm on it right now.
Everybody say cheese.
3, 1, 2, 3.
Cheese.
Got a couple more just in case I see a lot of shots. 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
4. All right, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. It's a
We're
lot
all
of-
just smiling, hoping that you're in that first picture that.
I know, right?
Gotta stay ready.
Awesome. So everyone, please keep an eye out for an email from us. If you maybe found out about this event from a friend, I'm going to drop the link to the registration form where you can submit your resume, and then you'll receive the follow-up email as well. So here's the link in the chat. So again, let me thank the ServiceNow team for partnering with HBCU Connect to pull this event off. We thank you all, and to all of the students, recent grads, definitely take advantage of this opportunity. I hope you guys saw how excited the students were when they were talking about compensation and benefits and their experiences. So hey, you're in the right place at the right time. Thanks for taking advantage. Definitely go and apply. I believe you can apply to for more than one position if you feel that you're qualified for different roles. So the recruiters can have a look at your resume and your application. And then best of luck to you. So again, Thank you all for taking advantage, and take care. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.